Welcome to JGTCR, I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the Corvette C7 Gr.3. Let's get into it. This C7 is a very usable and stable race car even when being pushed considerably hard. The nose does seem a touch heavy, but we can easily adapt our driving style to suit. The handling is solid and stable, albeit slightly lazy when turning in. That being said, we can steer quite aggressively without unsettling the balance of this car too much. The power is decent, and while we pick up pace considerably quickly, it does seem lazy due to the time it takes to make its way through the rev range. The power delivery is extremely good, not much in the way of wheel spin to manage. Most of the power does make its way to the ground effectively. When wheel spin does occur, it is a fairly simple task to bring back into control. However, we do lose a considerable amount of time, so it's best to avoid wheel spin whenever possible. The brakes are solid and stop the car without issue. Let's collect our time. Six minutes 37.7 seconds. On to the race tune. The C7 Gr.3 had both issues of over and understeer. Our tune is a compromise trying to eliminate both. Some ballast over the rear wheels and acceleration sensitivity reduced to 50% on the differential help us with oversteer. And the body height adjustment being lower at the front than the rear helps us with the understeer. Let's see how it performs on the Nürburgring. The default settings when modified are reasonable on the Gr.3 C7. It is stable enough to get decent times, but we got to tune. The handling has great response to our inputs. It turns well and is still considerably stable. The steering is fairly sharp, but it does still retain some of the lazy feel. This is a sacrifice we have chosen to make for the sake of better traction at the rear end. The power has had a bit of a bump, but it isn't that noticeable in the grand scheme of things. Power delivery has been made more aggressive so that we have to regulate how the power is put to the ground. It is more work for us, but it puts us in control of how power is put down and, in turn, making us faster if we have good throttle control. The brakes are fairly solid, but like to make us miss the plow via understeer. Get braking done in a straight line or trail brake for best results. Let's collect our time. 6 minutes 14.7 seconds. On to the drift tune. The C7 Gr.3 as a drift car has issues with the tail end spinning out. As we put more pressure on the rear to perform, we started losing front end traction. It was a fine line striking the balance between the two, and to be honest, it could do with a bit more work, but we did what we could with the time available to us. Let's drift Suzuka. The C7 Gr.3 can be a very moody drift car if we don't drive the way it wants us to. It has a tendency to over-rotate in the higher RPM from 6,000 RPM and above. It will lock itself into a drift and refuse to come back from the drift angle. This is more than likely a wheel speed issue above 6,000 RPM. The handling is reasonable when we drive the way this C7 wants us to. We should stay in the mid RPM, modulate the throttle, and hold revs at optimal levels for the best results. The power is good with plenty available to cook up those rear tyres, although it does struggle a bit in fifth while drifting. Power delivery is fairly solid for the most part, but higher RPM causes the tail to step out too far and it can be difficult to recover. While it can be drifted reasonably when driven correctly, it is too moody to say that it is a good drift car. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!